Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dreams Unlimited Travel Podcast. My name is John Magi, and I'll be your host. And in this episode, we're going to talk to some of our Dreams Unlimited travel agents about an upcoming trip they have planned to Walt Disney World during Halloween. We're doing something different and something new. We are using Teams to record this video, so bear with us if there's some glitches or some issues. It is our first time doing it. So we're going to start out. I am joined by Tracy Heinrichs.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Good to see you, Tracy. Everyone's asking how you are health-wise. How are you?
I am great. I'm doing great. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words and for asking.
Excellent. Next up, we have Kristen Turner.
Hello, everybody.
Kristen, you're getting really good feedback on your video you did for coming to Walt Disney World at the fall on Halloween.
Awesome. I can't wait to be there myself.
I might have said you had 20 kids.
Yes, I've heard that several times. Everybody's like, he said you had 20 kids.
Yeah, all under 5.
Excellent.
He said 3, 4, 20. I was like, hey, he was right with the 4, so he was close.
And next up, we have Stacy Wood. Hey, Stacy.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. I understand you're under a hurricane at the moment.
Yes.
So this is
Sally is batting away.
Dedication at its best. All right, so we're going to get started. You guys actually came to me and said you wanted to do this, that you have planned a trip and you want to talk about what it's like to plan it, and we're going to throw in some information about pre-trip planning as well as what we're thinking about as far as COVID and stuff like that. So let's tell the audience, let's tell our listeners and reviewers exactly when are you coming and where are you staying? Oh, I like it when there's crickets.
I didn't know if you were calling. I can start. Stacy and I are coming in October 21st and staying 4 nights till the 25th, and we're staying at Pop Century. Tracy's a little different. I think she's staying a little bit longer. But we're going to really excited to see the Halloween and fall things.
What's the reason, Stacy, that you guys picked Pop?
Well, we wanted to keep price down, so it was Pop or Art of Animation. Pop Century's got the Skyliner. Art of Animation has it too, but we chose Pop because it was available. We knew that we could get rooms for everybody. I've never stayed at Pop, so I'm excited to see it.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
Tracy, how much longer are you staying than the other ladies, and are you changing resorts once they leave to someplace better?
No, I'm still at Pop. Got to keep, we're on a budget now.
Yeah.
We're on the COVID budget.
Aren't we?
So I still am staying at Pop, but I'm staying for 9 nights. I'm coming from Canada, so I have to quarantine for 14 days when I get back. So I'm going to make it worth it while I'm out.
So I'm curious about something. Why aren't you just staying here now for the winter? Why wouldn't you?
Because as a Canadian, I cannot cross into the U.S. by land. Our land borders are closed. So for me to stay for the winter, I can't bring my car, I can't bring my dog, can't bring my stuff. So, and if I'm being honest, I don't think Florida's where I want to be right now for the winter. I feel maybe a false sense of security, we'll see, about flying down, making it from the plane to Magical Express and staying in the Disney bubble. So, it's just, it's really logistics at this point.
Excellent. What were the considerations for coming down in October? Are you guys just now so itching to come to Disney that you have to be here? Or was it like, oh, this is a good time because it's, cooler weather or the Halloween stuff? Kristen, what did you think?
A couple of reasons. One, like you said, we're totally itching to be there. I want to get back to Disney. It's been since February since we've been there, and we're just all really wanting to come and see the low crowds and just how they're doing things. And that comes to my second point is we really want to experience this to be able to better inform our clients. So we want to be able to have the best perspective and information and be able to pass that on.
Excellent. Are you guys coming with all your family, or is it just kind of like a girls' weekend.
Just
See?
us and Chris.
Yeah,
It's a girls' weekend.
yeah, and Chris.
Us and Chris.
Adults only is the best way to do it. That's what I found out anyway.
Mhm.
My kids haven't been in over a year, which is pretty long for them. So yeah, it's just us.
We have vacationed with our husbands before, and it's been wonderful. So we're not opposed to bringing them. It just didn't work out for them this time.
Did you vacation with each other's husbands or your own?
Yeah, we were down there in February, right before. Wait, are you joking? I missed it.
We
That's
mostly stayed
like
with our own husbands while we were there.
Anyway, we were there in February. We had all of our husbands, and we had a wonderful time.
It was right before everything.
It was right before, yeah.
It was crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a different time, completely different.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago.
So Tracy, you mentioned having to quarantine when you get back. Tell us a little bit about your planning, because yours is a little bit different coming from Canada, coming from out of state.
Yeah, it is. And it was also a really big decision to go. I mean, the girls were kind of waiting for me. And so I wanted to watch for a little bit to see how Disney was doing with it. I do also have to check in on my place down there, because now it's going to be several more months that it's going to be empty. So it's a little bit different. But the planning, like just airline, I mean, that's different. We had our flights all booked, and then our border was extended just yesterday, our closure for another month. And all of a sudden, you know, the flights changed. The airlines are flying less days. So we had to scramble to rebook. It was a lot of research for me, looking into airlines and airports and trying to make sure I had only one connection. I would have preferred none, but that's not possible where I fly from now. And so it was a lot of that. It was a lot more planning than I'm used to. I mean, we've all done Disney so many times that we kind of just do it. We just book it and we go. But this one was a lot more planning. So, and then having to quarantine on the way back, or when I get back, I'm sorry. I know for most Canadians and for most people coming out of country, going to Disney right now is not a possibility. The fact that I work from home, Chris works from home with me, quarantine for us, while will be inconvenient, it's certainly possible. We're not, you know, losing jobs. You don't have kids going to school. And so the biggest thing for me was we heard from a lot of our colleagues that were going to the parks who live in Florida or living within driving distance. And for me, I really want to see the whole experience. I don't want to see what the airlines are doing, what the airports are doing. How does that feel in real time? How does Magical Express feel from the airport? Do I feel safe? So there's all these considerations now, and it's a different time. Like Kristen said, we just all felt like, how can we continue to talk about this? And clients asking us questions, and should I go or shouldn't I go, if we haven't done it ourselves? It's a little bit like, remember when we were all there for the hurricane? Which one was that? Irma, I think. We ended up getting stuck there because we had an agent trip at the time. And just seeing what the parks did with that hurricane has really improved the way that we can assist our clients traveling during that time and what to expect. So it's kind of the same thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is, it is one thing for those of us who are here and local to talk about going to the parks, but it's another thing for folks who have to travel here, who are not from Central Florida or even from Florida in general. You know, there's a lot more considerations to put in place. You talked about when you return, you talked about flight considerations, you talked about the fact that, you know, you can't cross by land, which I don't know, sounds very Revolutionary War to me. For some reason, the Canadians coming, we had to put up a lantern or something. So as far as those of you guys who are here in the US, what are your additional considerations? I'll go to Kristen first. What were your additional considerations for coming to Florida, if anything? Did you think, you know, have to think about what airline you took or when you traveled? Was that a consideration?
It's not as much for me. We don't have any quarantine here in Missouri. So basically it was the same kind of consideration that it typically is for me when I go to fly. Southwest is typically best. It's one of the only ones that has nonstop flights from here. So it was still my best option. And then I checked to see what safety precautions they're taking. They have no metal seats. And that's something I said I would love for them to have forever. And then also, they're doing 10 people at a time boarding, which I think sounds awesome too. We were talking about how these kind of things we'd love to see last forever, but of course it probably slows down the process. So there's just things like that. But really it was just like planning any other trip as far as airlines for me, because it's limited on the amount. So amount of flights per day. So there's like a layover, or typically I wouldn't have that. So that was pretty much it. Just trying to find the best deal and the best flight.
Question. Did Southwest say anything about they're going to board the plane from the back? Because I know that's been a consideration.
I was wondering that too, because it doesn't say, all it says is that they're doing it 10 at a time. It doesn't say how you're getting off the plane too, because that's typically when everybody's all standing huddled together, and it doesn't say anything about what happens when you get off. So I'm curious to see how that works. But other than that, they didn't say anything about the back. So that'll be something to experience.
Excellent. Stacey, what about you? What have you put into sort of more thought going into it than you would of a regular Disney vacation?
Well, I'm flying out of GSP and I have a layover in Atlanta. So I really had 2 airports that I wanted to kind of check out, and just to make sure that I knew what I had to do to make this easy. Both airports, and I'm sure they're all going to be similar. They're doing the enhanced cleaning, they're using hospital grade disinfectant and so on. So I feel like the airports themselves are going to be fine. Our GSP here, nobody's there, even non-COVID time. So it's a pretty quiet, subdued airport anyway. One thing about Southwest that I noticed, and Kristen, I don't know if she saw this too, but Southwest is cleaning each of their airplanes every night for 6 hours per plane. Yeah. And I thought that was kind of shocking. So I felt better, but I'm flying Southwest too. So I felt better booking Southwest knowing that.
Yeah. And another thing with Southwest and just planning in general is I like that they have extended like their refunds and their change and cancellation fees. So that's nothing you have to worry about either. They've extended credits and points if you have to cancel for longer. So that's another thing to consider, is flexible cancellation and change policies, because you never know what's going to happen right now in this climate.
Right.
Yeah, all airlines are really stepping up and doing a lot. We fly Delta a lot, and Delta keeps sending us all the stuff they're doing. Let's talk a little bit now about the concerns of COVID here in Florida. I'm curious, first of all, if you are more concerned about being in Florida with, as opposed to where you are now. And second, what do you feel about the things you have to do to stay safe in Florida? I'm going to start with Tracy, our germaphobe.
Yeah, so for me, I think for me it's anywhere in the US, honestly. I mean, we hear the numbers, we see them, and it's you never know. I mean, you never know what it's going to be like, but I also hear the masks are mandatory in most indoor spaces. I think Disney's doing a great job of keeping masks mandatory. Airport, they're all mandatory. So we're very good here about masks and washing hands and disinfectant. So I'm probably more concerned than the other 2 girls for sure, because they're living in their America. You know what I mean? Like, they're in the US. So they know their reality day to day. I only know what I see from afar. So it probably makes me a little bit more anxious. I think I'm most anxious about socializing with them. Socializing with them, but also with, we're going to be meeting other agents and friends there. Because typically when we're socializing, we've done this before, we're not socializing like we might be all gathering in a room and enjoying a drink. We're all going to be eating together. And so it's those kinds of things that I think about now too, which I'll find my own ways to be extra cautious about. But it's a different, a way different reality. We'll limit ourselves off property. Like I said, we do have to go check on our house or a place that we have down there. So we'll rent a car that day and we'll go do that, and we'll pick up some supplies for the room, which is also different. I plan on having more things available to me in the room to limit the amount of times that I'm, going out to grab things. We will be on property this whole trip, which is also different for us. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
All right. So, Kristen, now that Tracy has called you a dirty, dirty American.
Nothing I haven't said to her face.
Exactly. Do you have the same concerns, Kristen, about you coming from where you are and coming to Florida? Because let's face it, we have to talk the reality here. Florida was a hotspot. We're doing much better in our cases and in our deaths, and this is good to see, and there's an improvement. However, we were the epicenter for a while, and it was scary. Does coming from where you are to here concern you at all?
I'm most scared of Tracy. Because I am very much the opposite of a germaphobe, and sometimes I do things and not even realize it. So like, I'm just like, sometimes I have no self-awareness with my dirty, nasty dirt, I'm really the opposite. So I'm like, she's going to yell at me. I'm not even going to realize that I did something that like, one time she asked me for gum, and I just handed her a piece of gum out of my thing, and she was like, "You touched it." I'm like, I didn't even think about it. That's just things I do. So that's what I'm scared of. She's gonna yell at me a lot.
That we've eaten. You look on here. Here's some water I've drank it out of, and you could see. It was like she turned into a different person. But I know what you're talking about. But are you guys? You're all planning on wearing masks and social distancing and doing all that stuff. Do you think there's any concern, Stacey? I'll go to you. Any additional concern coming to Florida, or are you just going to do what you're doing now?
No, South Carolina was a hot spot just like Florida was. So I'm not concerned about entering Florida at all. I know once we're on Disney property, we're safe. I mean, every person that has gone, that has come back, has said the same thing. You guys were there and you said the same thing. I mean, I feel really good about going to the parks. I think like Kristen, I am most afraid of Tracy, and Kristen and I said that we would do whatever we needed to do for a week or two before we were down there in October to make her feel better and to, keep ourselves clean and safe for her. We're not going to be off property at all, and I think that helps. So, no, I'm not afraid.
Excellent. All right.
I don't like wearing a mask, but nobody does, but I know that going in. So,
here's the deal: wearing the mask in Florida in the heat and humidity sucks. It just does. That's the reality of it. But we wanted to go, so we did it. You guys want to go? You have to do it. But, then you go back to your hotel room and you can relax and take it off and stuff like that. All right, so.
I'm afraid she's going to.
So you think Tracy's going to make you wear the mask in the room the entire time?
If I'm in the room, yes.
Yes, if she's in the room, we're going to have to.
I got to tell you, this sounds like a lot of fun. Like the best vacation ever.
See, my issue is I have a compromised immune system. So I already have been extra careful. I don't even leave my home unless I absolutely have to. So this is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge for me. And the thing is, for me, it just comes down to, this is our livelihood. This is how we make a living. And our clients really rely on us to give them honest, insightful information. And I feel like this is the only way to do it. So, Chris and I talked a lot about it, and we've just decided, and I mean, I'm always safe with Stacey and Kristen because they know I was a germaphobe before. So this is just taking it to the 10th power.
Here's the deal. We're having fun with you and joking with you, but we are the same way here. We rarely go out of the house. We are very careful about who we socialize with. We only socialize with the folks we trust. You've eaten in restaurants 3 times, and all of them have been outside. That's the only way we'll go to a restaurant. So here's the deal. You got to do what you got to do to feel safe and be safe. All right, so let's move on a little bit to the actual planning. So Walt Disney World vacations are now different. from the last time you guys have been here. There are no fast passes. There's very little dining reservations at the moment. There's no dining plan. So what is this vacation about, Tracy? Is it about just going and experiencing it? Or is it about trying to have that same experience you've always had under the new regulations?
I think it's going to be a very different experience. I don't think it's possible now to have the same experience as before. But at the same time, we know that going in. So this is more about seeing what the current Disney experience is like for us. I'm probably most worried about not having a dining plan. I got really used to having a dining plan, and I like the prepayment of that. I like knowing that that part of my trip is paid for and done. So we're thinking a little bit more about budget and how are we going to handle meals and things like that. I also, making park reservations was different as well. But I think this is definitely about what does a trip look like in the age of COVID. And I've got to be honest, I don't know if I had a family that they've been saving and this is their first trip to Disney. I'm not sure that I would recommend that this is the best time for them to go. I'll know more about that after I experience it myself. But I've been so many times that not seeing fireworks, not seeing a parade, those things aren't going to bother me. I'm not going to feel like I missed out on anything. I'm hoping to replace those with, seeing things about the new character cavalcades and things like that. I'm seeing, some of the random character experiences that are happening. I'm looking forward to lower crowd levels. And, we joke about me being a germaphobe. It's not really a joke. It's kind of reality. So I'm really looking forward to the fact that nobody can come within 6 feet of me. So I think I'm looking for what the new park experience is based on this reality, because I think we're going to see some version of what we're seeing now for some time.
Okay, good. So it's not about, I've got to reproduce that experience. I'm just going to go.
No. Right. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be possible to reproduce that experience right now.
Kristen, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I totally agree. We aren't trying to ride everything, eat everywhere, do character meet and greets, not planning for evening shows or dessert parties or anything that we typically do. We are just wanting to see the experience and get to experience the place we love and with our friends. And it's also for us a very mental thing. We are so excited to get to go be with our people and our favorite place. So it's really exciting.
So you guys, I assume you've done your park passes. Mm-hmm. You've got your, what days you're going to be in each park. How did you find that experience? I want to go to Stacy on this one. How did you find the park pass experience? Was it easy? Was it frustrating? What did you think about it?
It was very easy to do. In fact, I think I did, Kristen and I, Tracy did, herself and Chris, and we did it at separate times, and we were able to get what we wanted. We even moved it around a little bit. We flip-flopped some days. It was also kind of based on dining availability. So we were able, we all agreed that we wanted to do at least one character dining to kind of see how that would go. So we had Garden Grill booked first. Chris decided he didn't want to do Garden Grill, so we had to please the man. Yeah. So Kristen was able to find us Topolino's, which is great because I haven't eaten there. So we have that really early one morning while we're there. But so we get to do at least one character meal, and I think we've got one other dinner booked. And that one is escaping me right now, but I don't think that one's
Trattoria.
Yes, so that wasn't even in a park, so that didn't really play into that.
I've done Topolino's for breakfast. It is great. It is great. I'll be
curious
to hear what the character interaction is like. They never really did too much of that. The characters were there and did a great show, but it'll be interesting to see what they do once you get there. Kristen, tell me which park, which days, and if there was a rhyme or reason to choosing them.
I just wanted to add on the Topolino's thing is that we've discovered that we think that's the hardest reservation to get right now.
Mhm.
We had a hard time getting that a little bit later in the game, and I searched every day until I got it, and I got the super early reservation, like we said. So, and then back to rhyme or reason for the days, not really. I know that, the park hours are limited. We just kind of went based on what time we get in and then meeting up with some other agents. We also are going to do the Food and Wine Festival, so we're excited about that.
Yeah.
That'll be something that we do for meal. I mean, just basically for eating instead of a meal, we'll just walk around and do food and wine. But as far as planning out the park days, we didn't really have a philosophy or rhyme or reason for that, just whatever works. I've heard that the parks are more crowded on the weekends, and we are going to be there over a weekend, but that didn't factor into how we chose our days. We just we were winging it.
Tracy, what are the other dirty agents that are you allowing to be around you?
Well, they are allowed within like so many feet, but they're not going to be too close. But Ben Zada's going to be with us. Yeah.
Depending who they are is how far they have to be.
Exactly. They're going to be ranked. Beth Zada and her daughter Mel, they had already had their family trip planned, and it just happened that it was the weekend that we were going to be there. Beth's in Florida, so she's been to the parks, and I'm sure Carrie will come to meet us. Carrie is in Florida as well now, so I'm sure we'll spend some time with Carrie. I can't remember who else. We never make solo plans. We're kind of always like, okay, we're in town. Who wants to? We do that a lot. So
I would like to add, though, if you were to have Beth on this and ask her that same question, it would be a totally different answer as far as like what day she picked what. I mean, they've got it. They're back. They're, like you said, trying to go back to old ways. That's them. They're not us right now. We're like, let's relax.
Well, I purposely didn't want to include them because they are local and because they have been. So I wanted to hear what it was like for you guys who've not been or excited to come down and see it for the first time since all this happened, and what your concerns are and what your mindset is. So yeah, I mean, we could talk to them all we want, but I think you have a different perspective than they would, and that's what I wanted to hear. So what else do we want folks to know about your trip planning for this trip? What else do we want folks to hear, so maybe your clients can take something away from it and say, oh yeah, I understand Stacy did this. Anybody? Did I put you on the spot?
I'm trying.
Well, I mean, this isn't necessarily COVID related, but perhaps it is because of the APs. So I'm not a big Disney merch shopper by any means, but I'm excited to use that 30% discount while we're there. So I think we do have some shopping in our plans.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as something to be excited about, I think once we set our plans and we had our flights booked, we had the hotel booked, we had our park reservations done, we each at different times said, I am more excited about this trip than any other trip. And I think because we thought we weren't going to be able to do it, I don't know. This one feels different to me. I'm more looking forward to this than a family trip.
Kevin and I went to the Magic Kingdom the first day it was open, and if anybody follows us, they know that we don't go to the parks as much as we should, being local. Right. But it felt like we had to. And it felt special and it felt exciting being able to be in the place you love after all of this has happened. So I can certainly relate to, why this feels like such a monumental trip for you guys. I had a question and it completely skipped my mind. Oh, okay. Want to go around and find out what is the one thing you're looking forward to do? Not necessarily what park you're looking to see or what, but like what ride, show, attraction, food are you really looking forward to be like, I finally got there and I finally got a chance to do this again? I'm going to start with Stacy.
Okay, I have not ridden the Mickey and Minnie's Railway yet at Hollywood Studios, and I keep seeing and hearing that the wait times are really low for this and that people are just walking on and going on it several times, so I'm really looking forward to that.
It's exciting.
Doing that the first time.
Kristen, what about you?
I was going to say that. I haven't rode that one yet. But then also the castle. We haven't even seen the castle repainted. Like it's going to look totally different than what we saw it last time. So Magic Kingdom is my favorite. I just can't wait to see the castle again.
That's awesome. Tracy, what about you?
I'm going to echo what both of them said. It's the same thing. You know, I haven't done the railway yet. Being able to see the castle with it, you know, all newly painted. I'm looking forward to a food wine. I mean, for me, it's about the food. I'm looking forward to food and wine with maybe less lines at the food booths. I'm looking forward to I've been following along with what the guys have been doing with, you know, some of the new Halloween treats. So that's always exciting to see the decorations. But I have to say, this is going to sound corny, but I think the thing I'm looking forward to the most is being with these girls who have experienced the same thing I have over the last several months. And just being with them, because we've all had the same experience. We've all been going through this crazy time, professionally, personally. So the fact that we can all be together and just know what we've been through, we don't have to say nothing, and we can just relax in our favorite place. That's probably what I'm looking forward to the most.
You have to commiserate with your war buddies.
Exactly, because nobody understands it like we do.
I hear you. All right, anything we want to say before we go? I know what I want to do before we wrap up. I'm hoping you guys all post on your social media and keep everybody updated. I'd like you all to give out your Twitter and Instagram if you have either or both. So let's start with Tracy.
I'm so original. I think I'm just Tracy Heinrichs everywhere. You look Tracy Heinrich, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it's all the same.
Tracy Heinrichs everywhere. What does everywhere mean?
No, not everywhere. Sorry. You got me.
All right. Excellent. So that's Instagram and Twitter.
Yep, and Facebook.
Excellent. All right. Kristen, what about you? What is your social media handles?
Man, she had me all teary-eyed, so I'm recovering from that. My Instagram is Kristen Turner Dreams Agent, and I don't use Twitter. I have it, but it's old. And then I just have a Facebook page, just like my name and vacation planning. You should be able to find it by searching my name once you've spelled it rightly. But I usually do update there quite frequently, and actually they're connected to my Instagram, like post both things. So
excellent. Stacy, what about you? What's your social media?
I really just keep up with Facebook, and it's under my name. I do have Instagram. I don't usually post, but maybe I will, and that's swood112. So, and I have Twitter too, but I do not keep up with that at all.
Excellent. Well, you know what? It's almost like a job trying to keep up with your own social media. So I can certainly understand why you wouldn't want to just do that while on vacation you want to enjoy. All right. What do you want to leave our listeners and our viewers with? What piece of advice do you want to give them? What one last moment you want to talk to them about before we let you go? Tracy, start with you.
Okay. I think for me, because I have to worry about where I'm coming from in quarantine and things like that, I think my advice is to look into your state regulations. While Florida doesn't have any rules about people quarantining anymore, your state where you're coming from may. I would say country as well, but I think most countries like Canada are going to have the same restrictions. So you're going to have that quarantine when you get home. But some states also have it. So you want to be aware of your state's rules. And I also just want to say, we've decided this is right for us right now. And we're in no way saying that it's right for you. I think everybody needs to make this decision. This decision is so much bigger than a sale or sales. But we're going to be honest about what it means for us and how it went for us. And then everybody should make their own, their own choice as to what's right for them.
Kristen, what about you? What last word do you want to leave folks with?
I'm excited to say and see, I guess, that the magic is still there. So I hope that we can come back and say we had a wonderful time and it's still as magical as can be. That's what I keep hearing. So I just think that it's something that you should take in all the safety precautions, but something to still consider is just coming to the parks and having the experience. And I hate the new normal. I hate to say that, but we don't know when it's going to be normal again. So this could be how it could be for a couple of years. So it's like, let's just embrace the difference in the parks and see what it's like. So.
Agreed. And Stacy, how about you?
Yes, I agree with everything that they both have said. To me, I say just do it. I mean, I think that if you're going about your normal day, your kids are in school and they're doing fine, and you're back at work and you're shopping and you're eating, even if it's outdoors, you're on the fence about the Disney trip, I say do it. Maybe check in with us after we've gotten back from ours and see what we have to say and how we felt. But I say do it. It's open, it's there. They've done everything they can to make this safe for everybody.
So interesting, maybe something you guys, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but there's been not one single case of COVID traced back to a theme park visitor in Central Florida. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean maybe it wasn't traced back to somebody. However, the fact that they've made that statement boldly, I think, is a good sign for how the theme parks are handling this situation. Excellent. Ladies, I hope what we can do is when you get back after your vacation, I hope we can do another one and sort of do a post-trip show and talk about what you did and what you experienced, what was good, what was bad. I hope we're able to do that when you guys are ready.
I agree.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much for participating in this conversation. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody at home, for listening and watching. We hope you have a great week, and we hope you have a great vacation.